Hello, ladies. Thank you for stopping by. I know it's been a little bit, but I have been really busy working on journals and swap meets, snippets, and all that kind of stuff. I belong to a club that is just fabulous, and the owner of it is just wonderful. That's Nicola, and the group's name is Shabby Journals, Crafts, and More. So that's on Facebook. You really need to go check it out because we really do have a lot of fun. So, anyway, to get back to the project here, this journal, I named her Bunny. It is an Easter journal, and I am using a digital from Oohlala Vintage Treasures. And actually, I am using two kits. I'm using Beautiful Bunnies and also Faberge Vignettes kit vintage mini journal. And I know I butchered the name of it, but I am just not any good at French. But here's what it's called. So I'm really sorry, but yeah, I just can't speak that beautiful language. But anyway, here's the kit itself. It's a 5.5 by 11, and there's like a total of 24 pages, and a lot of them are decorated up quite a bit, and some of them aren't. Like I said, the kit is so beautiful in itself that I really don't need to do much of anything on some of the pages. And it makes it kind of hard to do anything at all when it's so pretty to begin with. So some of them I didn't do anything. But here's this dangle or tassel that I made to put on here. I just thought it was kind of cute. I used some very old vintage, like this is very vintage. Come off a pillowcase, and this did also. So those are very old. And then a bunch of other. This is an old sheet, and of course some pearls. There's some pink pearls. Here's some white pearls, some off-white pearls, and then I had to put some glitz in there. So there's some rhinestones. Just a little bit of everything, I think. So anyway, tied a bow underneath there. You can remove this if you want to. So if it's a pain and like that, you don't like it or something, then it can be removed. So we'll go inside and check that all out. Hope you all's been doing okay. Oh, any big adventures? Got any travels lined up for this year? I hope the weather straightens up. I plan on doing some camping this summer. I didn't get to last summer because I had back surgery. So it's still on the mend, but I am going to go camping no matter what. So, okay. Here is the cover. This is a flower that I made, a piece of applique, a little bling from Angel Dream Crafts, Kim at Etsy. Tied a bow here, and all this lace here is an actual vintage handkerchief that I just put all underneath with all this here, because the only thing I used for the cover is cardstock, and it's a craft cardstock. So I didn't really want the brown to show through on the face, but the brown does show through on the next page, and I think it looks gorgeous. So anyway, there's the face. The flower was in the kit, and all I did was spritz it with some water and then took a stylus, found one with a bigger ball like this here, and I just swirled around the outer edge and worked myself into the middle. So that's, I just added, I think there's just 2 of them there for that flower. Yeah, then just added some little leftover laces and like that in there to kind of frill it up a little bit more. Then added some bling. Okay. And here you can see where the craft colored paper shows through. And so I use the off-white and the beigey fabric to use on here, and I love it. I think it looks really cool. So this is the tag I made to go in it. I just tucked a little bunny in there. Added a little flower and added a great big bow. And then there's all kinds of journaling on the back. And then over here, this is a plate, a big old plate that I cut out. That's in the kit. And I just folded it over and put pages inside of it. And here's the mama bunny. I did put some resin on this bow to make it stiff and shiny with a little pink flower. And I added some of these flowers in her hat. Then here's her little girl here that I added a piece of applique at the bottom of her dress with a little pink dot on it. And then I added pink ribbon at the bottom of the mom's dress. And then here is an applique that I added around the edge of the plate. And this is a tag, an applique, and a bow with a rhinestone in it that you can write on the back. And then here's another little tag with the cute little bunny in there, and I put a big old bow in her cap that you can journal on the back. And then here is another piece of applique. And then here's some vintage trim that I put along the edge, and there's another applique that it'll go around to the other side. And then here in the back is a couple of more tags. This is the egg that is out of that kit that I butchered up. It's a French name, the Faberge vinaigrette kit. Let's just say the Faberge. I think I'm pretty close on that. And Doreen, you'll have to correct me. Then journaling place here. Then here's just a piece of lace that I just fold over just because I want to. I think it's pretty. And then I made this little dangle. My plan was hoping that maybe it'd hold it over, but it's not heavy enough. That's just a piece of ribbon that I thought was so pretty, and then a little blue pearl. And then this is a ruffle that I made out of wedding dress, and then just some vintage lace that I had. Here's a dangle that I made. There's a little tag that was included in the kit that I put Winkostella on there so it glitters and sparkles and like that. There's a piece of applique, and then there. Then here's your corner pocket with a pink applique with a couple of journaling cards in the inside. I couldn't tell you which one I like best. I love the vintage, and I love the frilly, the Victorian or whatever. I wouldn't be able to choose. Here's another ruffle that I made. Lots of journaling, paper doily. And then on here, this is fabric that I stamped on and made a pocket out of it. It's got bunny rabbits like that on it. And of course, I can't read it. It looks like it's probably in French. And then a couple of tags there. It's so cute. And I just put some vintage trim there and a little applique. You can write on the backs of them. Then there's this dangle I made out of one of the eggs that I decorated all up and hung from this ruffle. And then there's a little stone, little bling on it. Then there's the ruffle. I just think that's so pretty. I love that fabric there. Lots of journaling. The ruffle. Here's a dangle that I made. A little bunny rabbit. And then on here, this is a belly band that I made. That I put some lace along the edge of that one and on the edge of this, which I think turned out so pretty, just so rich looking. Look at the background of that paper. I just think it's gorgeous. And anyway, here's a little booklet that I put together. Put those corners on it. That's all I did to it. It's so pretty by itself. Added this trim down the spine of it. Then there's a paper doily, some vellum, some scrapbook paper. This is an old vintage music sheet, Robin Hood and Little John. So, yeah, that's pretty old. Then here's like a Victorian lady. I should have maybe put her on top so you could have seen her better. And then I embossed this sheet of paper here. And then that's it. It's all the back side of what you just viewed in the front. That just slides in there like that. Then I took a piece of fabric that had this trim on it, and I just cut it off and used it to kind of sturdy at the top of this pocket. Add this little applique down here and a couple of tags. And I just think this just looks so fluffy that I just imagine standing there and falling back on it. And just sink down into it. It's just so pretty. And then this one, well, I don't really know what to say. I did use some modeling paste and stenciled on some swirls, which was real good, turned out real good. But then I went and got some of my bottles of mist, and this has got the sparkles in it. This pink one does, and this red one does too, but you can't really see it too well. But anyway, I probably messed it up a little bit, but it kind of grows on you. So, you know, if somebody gets this journal, then they can do what they want with it, I guess. And here's a little mauve chiffon that I tied up there and then stenciled on the back. And then here is another piece of lace, another dangle that I made. Then here's an old Latin book. It's a school book. It's somebody wrote me, us, you. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but I'd read it to you, but I can't. And then, of course, there's a bunch more writing here, which I think is pretty cool. I just think it's neat to look at different language books. And then here, all I did was just decorate this page with this cute little bunny. Put an applique underneath her. And I just thought, I'm not doing anything else. That is so cute. Except for I did add this big old bow that I made. I'm one that thinks bows have to be big. I just love them when they're great big. And then here's a sheer ruffle that I added as a corner pocket. This little applique, the flower. Then there's that ruffles that we can all jump on, and it just like floating on a cloud. And then here's an egg that I decorated. Made it into a dangle. So added some vintage lace. There's some trim. And I made a dangle out of this cute little bunny here with a piece of chiffon that I tied in the bull pin. Just goes right in there. Then this one is a belly band. I glued her down and just glued here and here. That way you can just slide, you know, something in behind her. And here's the card. I just added some lace, and I made this little Easter egg with some resin, and I had some of the little blingy stuff that I sprinkled in it, and then added a pearl trim up here. Isn't that pretty? And then here's another ruffle I made, and a little dangle that I made. The other half of that Latin book. And then here's a out of that Faberge kit. I made a pocket out of the paper, out of the page. Yeah, see. And I just added one of the eggs. There's a little bit of cheesecloth back there, and I just added a couple little vintage piece of ribbon. And there's a big giant tag in there. Added this group of flowers there. Just add a little bit of bling in the center of that. And then all kinds of journaling space. And then here's another piece of lace. Another dangle that I made. And then this is just cut off of a piece of applique. That on there. And I had this fabric that I used to make a pocket out of. Like some glue. There we go. And here's a couple of tags that I put in it. And I really didn't think I needed to put anything on this pocket. I think it looks pretty the way it is. So I just left it alone. And like I said, there's the paper, and I didn't want to cover it up. So that's all I did was cut out a piece of fabric, sheer fabric, with some pearls and some rhinestones on it. And folded it over, added a crocheted flower, and added this little pearl dangle. Uh-oh. Just thought, yeah, that paper just speaks for itself. And then over here, there's this flower that I didn't use with the other one. I just thought it was big enough to where I could just glue at the bottom and make a little tuck spot for it. So I added this bow and this egg with some decorative fabric, underneath it. And then I added a couple of little cards. And then here, I love making these. These are called paper edge trimmers. So if you just don't, if you don't want to just put just lace on it or a ribbon on it or what have you, you take a piece of paper. I know mine was 1 inch, and I scored it down the middle, and you just set it over the page. But while, before I put it on the page, I just decorated it with tulle and laces, and there was a couple of layers of lace and like that. And then I added pieces from the kit, pieces of ephemera, and glued them down on it with a couple of large pearls. And I just think they turned out so cute. So now, this is not my idea, so I'm not wanting to take credit or anything for it, but I just think it is a great idea, and I just love it. And then here's the other side, the back side of it. Some more the ephemera from the kit. Then the pearls. Doesn't it just look cute? Pretty. And here is another pocket that I added with the egg and one of these cute little bunnies. Added a little flower down here. the other half of that paper doily. Then here's another pocket that I made a page out of, or made a pocket out of the page. Then here's the tag, and I put some tulle down on it to kind of give it some sparkle, some texture, and I thought it turned out pretty cool. So then I added this little applique here and this little piece of ephemera down here, and there you have it. I thought it turned out pretty good. But this is a little booklet that doesn't got anything in it. No, I keep calling it a tag. But it's just, you can open up and there's all kinds of journaling places there. Excuse me. And I did, stencil that there. And there's the back of that paper. The other half of that paper. Gorgeous. Then I added a little sweet trim there and just ruffled it up. And here I just paper clipped this in. There's lace there. And I put some sari silk on the end of that paper clip and added some ephemera. You open this up, you can write in here and on here. This is a French. This is a French stencil that I used. And then it lifts up and out, and you got a big sheet of stencil. So, a stencil paper that you can write on. And then on this here, I just glued the two sides and the bottom so that I could make a pocket and add a tag. So, because I really wanted to add another piece of paper that opened up, but I didn't want to take up any more space in the journal, so I just left it like that and just made a pocket and added some pretty stuff to it. And you can journal on. And then you just paper clip it to your page. And there's the other half of that plate. I just decorated it up. Added a little bunny. Added an applique. And then there's another tag behind that. Isn't that cute? And then on the back page, the very last page, is another tag that you can journal on the back. There's some pink dangles across here. Some vintage. These were like curtains that I cut down. And then another applique and an envelope that I made. And you can actually open that up and fold this down, and you have more journaling. This be a secret. This could be some secret journaling. So that's it. There's my bunny book. And then I showed you the back. Just did a doily, a vintage doily. Glued a flower on there, but I just did not want to cover up these two flowers, so I didn't. But this is part of that handkerchief, that vintage handkerchief that I used on the cover. But that's it. This journal is for sale, and I'll put, the measurements and the pages and like that down in the description area. If you're interested, and I'll put my info so you can get a hold of me. And also, I will have Doreen's information down in the description also. So if you want to purchase her kit or kits, that'll take you right to her Facebook page. And she's got, be sure to take a look at her other kits. I mean, they are just absolutely gorgeous. So you'll love them. So get you some more kits if you don't want to do the Easter, since Easter's about here, but I just think it's so darn cute. But anyway, I want to thank you ladies for stopping in. If you haven't subscribed, please do so at the bottom and leave me a message. Talk to me. So I would love to hear, some ideas that you might have, or that tell me what you'd like to see and like that. If I can do it, then I'll certainly do it. So, okay, everybody have a good day. Stay safe. Stay safe. And I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.